Do you guys find yourselves struggling to defeat enemy defenses, whether it be in co-op or PvP? Do you always feel like you have a disadvantage and you can't always get through enemy defenses? Well, we're going to change your guys' way of thinking in this video. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video because we have a surprise at the end and we're going to teach you a new way of breaching for urban combat as well. What is up, guys? This is MaxCut4, and as you've seen, we're going to be doing an assault video today. We'll be learning how to attack most effectively and how to overwhelm enemy defenses, even when you might not have the numerical superiority. All right, so first off, big thing you want to have is you do want to have a 3-to-1 ratio. All right, 3-to-1 ratio is going to make you most chance to be able to succeed in attacking the enemy position and actually taking it, with remaining soldiers left to actually defend it. Now, you might not always find yourself to have this exact numerical advantage, but it can work in different levels. Now, as you can see, these guys are level 2 grenadiers. Now, these guys are only level 1. Now, this might be what I'm using to cover my flank or defense that you might be facing. So these guys, as you can see, all these guys have riflemen and an MP40 versus this squad has machine guns and also has a grenade launcher, okay? That can make these guys way better attacking than versus these guys that are going to struggle with defending, as well as they have only 150 health versus 200 health. So factors like this and the amount of support that you have can make a huge impact on your viability to be able to attack. But say we're attacking one-on-one and they have a similar sized squad and they're in a trench, all right? So let's go ahead, make them start firing at us. All right, initially, what you're going to do is get prone, and you're going to want to space out. You definitely want to make sure you're spaced out, because if you're spaced out, you're going to take less casualties, right? Then, what I'm going to do is find my MG assistant, and I'm going to select again, find my machine gun, right? I'm going to make sure these guys are going to be my separate dudes, because these are going to be my base of fire. These guys are going to be the ones I'm going to have sitting down, laying down fire, so that way I don't have to worry about getting smoked by some of these dudes. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split these guys in half. One of them is going to be part of that base of fire as well, and some of them are going to start moving up. So as they're moving up, once we get to a certain range, we're going to start throwing smokes. As you can see, there's only a certain range on your smokes. So you're going to want to get to a certain distance and make sure you're saving some smokes. So as you can see, he's getting to here, he's going to throw a smoke. Now he's going to wait for it to bellow and make sure that you're reloading or healing your guys, because if you're not healing your guys, then they're going to die a lot more quickly. Alright? So now these guys have made it up to their position. I'm going to get these guys to start moving up. As you can see, they keep moving, they keep healing. Alright? These guys start moving. As they get the smoke, you can start moving them up. Now, the smoke, well, they'll still be identified in the smoke if they don't hold fire. So if you don't want them to be seen, you want one guy to try to sneak up, then you can try to get him to, you can just get him to hold his fire. Right, now these guys are in position, so they're going to start suppressing the enemy as well. They only have rifles, but they're going to be able to suppress the enemy. Alright? Meanwhile, these guys are going to start moving up as well. Soon, they're going to get into grenade range, right? So you need about 26, 25 away for grenade range. He's right at the edge of his limit for where he's about to be sighted. So you can get a little bit more smoke. Have this guy on standby. We've obviously taken some casualties. Keep moving these guys up. Keep moving these guys up now that they're set up. And start using some smokes on these sides. Now you're getting close. You still get your machine gun suppressing. If you can afford it, get another machine gun. Get some suppressive fire. If you get the more fire you can get, the more suppression you can get, is going to be better for you. Alright, now that we've got a second smoke up here, and this guy is not firing, so he's not been identified. Now we have a grenade. Grenade's going to be very, very viable for taking out these enemy trenches. In the trenches, they're going to be very vulnerable to grenades. Now, me personally, I like to use the cook feature. So we're going to cook it just a little bit. Grenades coming in, no time to react. As you can see, we've already taken 2 of them out. They're coming back in the trench, but we're going to send another cooked grenade in. You see the grenade come in? Not enough time, okay? So, now that he's in there, keep moving these guys up. Have a couple on suppression. We know where they're at. We can get another guy, throw a grenade. Now there's only one guy here, so we're going to make sure we cook this grenade a little bit more, because I don't want him to move around very much. Alright. So as you can see, he's managed to survive. But if you get direct control, ideally, you can find your guy that has the actual submachine gun. If you don't have your submachine gun, you gotta work with what you got. Alright, now that you have one base in here, as you can see, you can get a grenade on this side. And every time that they move out of the trench from this grenade, they're going to be able to do easy pickings from these guys. Anybody else that you have as your base of fire is going to be easily to be able to pick them up. And keep moving up your bases of fire. If you have 2 of them, continue to move one up while the other one's getting in position. Now, let's say that all these guys have gotten murdered. All right? Then, you got to continue the fight, all right? You got to keep moving up. Now that you got the enemy position, you continue the offensive, right? Next base of fire, and continue the leapfrog. As you can see, you've taken some casualties. So, what you can simply do, call in some support, and once they get up here, then you can select all those dudes and make another team. I recommend using the bounding overwatches, which you just saw, where you can simply move. You have 1 base of fire here, and you're moving up 1 team. Ideally, you're going to crawl up as heavy fire, but if it's only light fire, you can use it so you run and then get down. Then these guys are up. I'm going to move up, and then we're getting down. So that's just simple position. Now we're going to go into some more things that might be related to PvP. Right? So some PvP defenses you might see on someone's flank is usually like this. There's a bunch of foxholes in there. Usually they're not going to have a squad like this. They're usually going to have some second line troops in there. Right? So since they've got second line troops in there, you might be able to take it with an actual squad. So you slowly need to move these guys up, just like I said. Get them moving up. Once they get into engagement range, then you're going to start splitting them up. However, there are other things that you can use as force multipliers. So if we were facing an enemy squad and we have roughly our friendly squad, then there's some stuff we can use as force multipliers. Now, ideally, you don't want to spend something that's like 800 manpower, because that's like 6 to 8 squads of enemies that you could be facing for that. Force multipliers going from the most expensive here. This one's only, look at this. He is only 360. The League is a very effective support weapon. Now this thing can straight up snipe guys out of these trenches. You just get a couple shots on here, and then you're going to be able to start obliterating the trenches. Look at that. That guy's taking out half his health, and we took out his trench. Oh, almost took out his trench. But you get the idea. It starts blowing up the trenches. It starts dealing some serious damage, and as they're out of the trenches, they're going to be very easy hits for you to actually take out and kill. So just make sure that you continue to use these force assets like this. And there you go, he just got sniped out of there. Another one that's a little bit cheaper, we have the mortar. Now this one is a little bit different. It's obviously not going to be nearly as accurate. However, one thing this mortar has is something that you can easily make your offensive go a lot smoother. It has smoke rounds. So these smoke rounds are going to be a little bit inaccurate. So that's why you fire a quick salvo. You can get some resupply if you need some more. But obviously that's where we're probably going to make the push from, is where the smoke is at, right? So now instead of having to cross all this open ground, we now have a spot where we can move up. These guys can be on hold fire so they don't give away their position. But they're going to move up to this area. Meanwhile, I can get some guys that stay on base of fire, slowly moving up through the smoke, and then they can use smoke of their own to continue to get closer. And now, as you can see, these dudes are well within grenade range much after this next smoke, and then you can just breach through the lines. Another cool little thing you can do is use support weapons like this 2 centimeter or a Pack 36 light little anti-tank gun. Only costs 200, but it does have HE rounds and a very high rate of fire that can take out enemy infantry, and it can even challenge light vehicles that come up. Next, you have a nice little scout car, only 145 manpower. Now this one's 200, this one's only 145. Now this thing only has a machine gun. However, it can be very effective because a lot of people, what they do is they put their guys in a line. They put all their guys in a line, and what you can do is if you bust through the smoke and they're not expecting you, say you haven't fired your scout car off yet, you can do shock and awe, right? You can just simply break through the smoke, and then kabam, you are breaking up all his foxholes. At the same time, you're starting to eliminate. I've seen a lot of players actually go through this and run a bunch of infantry over. So if you have really good driving control, you can run a bunch of infantry over, and you can destroy all their positions very quickly. As you can see, this scout car just did. And a lot of times, especially if you know they're infantry that don't have much, any handheld anti-tank other than anti-tank grenades, you can do a lot of damage. And now all those infantry are in disarray while your guys are engaging them. A lot of those guys are just gonna get murdered by those infantry that are playing support. Right, another cheaper option is only 150 manpower. You can get the sniper, who's gonna be able to engage at long range. He can easily take out those guys, take out a couple guys. You lose 3 guys here. Now he has a gap in security, and it's gonna be easier to push through those lines, push through those foxholes. Because usually on someone's flanks, they'll have this, and they'll have that over there. But you break through, and now you can make an achievable flank, because that's all they usually have. Their main forces might be somewhere like in the center point or on the side points. This can also work versus AI, but they don't use as much foxholes, but they use light defenses, so you can use the same method. Also, good old for only 125, you can use your officer. These also have huge cap weight, but you can use that to up to 200 to scout out the actual enemy positions, so that way you can find the actual foxholes. And then even cheaper, only 110. This one's not going to be exactly going to be your fast moving vehicle that's going to be able to run over people, but this thing is going to be a nice mobile little support bunker that can put down some support by fire. Keep it at 120, keep it in his max range. You can do some effective rate of fire at 120, and he's going to be able to keep their heads down. So if you're trying to get up to a position, you might be able to eliminate a guy or two, but if you're trying to get up to this foxhole, keep his head down. He keeps firing, let's see, let's get him to fire. He keeps firing, and I might be able to creep a guy up. I might even be able to actually get a guy to run up, even without smoke. Because look, I've got a constant rate of fire now, and I might be able to do something crazy, like take out a foxhole with my freaking Panzerschreck. I can't even see his foxhole right now. Pretty well concealed. Obviously that didn't work, but it can work situationally. And now that he's suppressed, I have a grenade. Managed to get a grenade in there. And now he's forced out of his foxhole where I can kill him, or he gets killed by the machine gun. So make sure you guys are using effective little things like this. Make sure you're using force multipliers. Last one is going to be anti-tank, but we're going to talk about them at the end, because these guys can actually be very effective in urban combat for not just killing tanks. They have another purpose as well. So next we're moving on to a scenario where we are assaulting a house. There's been this house line that's been very difficult for us to take out, right? So we have a bunch of guys suppressing it, and we have a bunch of guys on standby, right? So what we're going to do, try to get some of our infantry up here, either crawl them up or run them up, depending on how crazy it is. And we're going to use them to throw a smoke, right? Throw a smoke and then get down in the prone. So while we're waiting for that smoke, let's go ahead and get flamethrower. Flamethrowers only cost 50 manpower. You can usually get 3 of them in multiplayer, but in co-op you can get a ton of them, and they're great for cover denial in multiplayer, and great for making basically just a hole in the lines, and in co-op and in PvP. Now these guys have a range of like 40 for the Russians and about 30 for the Germans. So you can sneak these guys up and then take out whole buildings and large amounts of cover. So this building's been a problem for you the whole time. It's not going to be a problem anymore, because that building is now burning down. You can take out all the cover that's being issued for you. Now make sure you want to keep your guys away from it if you have anybody that's firing. But as you can see, it's going to ignite the entire area. So everybody that's in this house is going to just burn up. Or they're going to have to run out that door, and this happens to be facing us. This door is going to be right here, so we're going to be able to destroy them very quickly with the machine gun. Now this is very good for denying buildings. Say the enemy's using this building to hide a bunch of guys behind. Destroy the building, and then you can see what's exactly behind them. You can change the course of the battlefield with just one little guy. And say that you just have unfortunate that he happens to die from friendly fire, or say that he dies from enemy units. Then select the unit, press C, pick up your flamethrower, and get right back to cooking, right? You can do this for enemy flamethrowers. So the enemy tries to do something cheeky, sends out a flamethrower, tries to burn some shit down, like this. As you can see, the building destroying itself from the fire. Then you can pick up another flamethrower and get back to work. So just don't leave the flamethrowers abandoned, because you can use enemy weapons against them, each other. All right. So that's one way to push through enemy lines. Now this can be somewhat ineffective because it's going to take a while for that all to clear out, and then for you to push in. Because if you push in like right now, then it could be an issue that something catches on fire, and then you like lose the whole squad that catches on fire. Alright, now we're going to talk about making big assaults, right? So say we're trying to take out this hill. This can be more conquest related because usually in PvP you're not going to have a position that are this intense. But we have an anti-tank gun, we have a machine gun, and we got a full squad. Say this is one of our objectives. So the machine gun is going to be laying some scunion down on you, and the Pack 4 is probably going to be firing at you as well. So you got to worry about these guys just putting some serious firepower down on this hill. And you were like, hey, I need to actually get up this hill. I don't know how the hell I'm going to advance up this hill with all these guys up here. So some things that you can use as assets, like if you're playing in Conquest, you want to use some artillery to soften up a huge enemy defense, right? So we're going to stop here. We got a Panzerwerfer. This thing's going to be awesome. Now, targets are priority. You can have this AT weapon. That's going to be your big issue. And then you have a machine gun, right? So I think I can take out the AT gun with my infantry. But, however, I need to take out the machine gun to get to the AT gun. So I'm going to try to take out most of this infantry and the machine gun. I figure I can take out this AT gun when I get close, because he's going to be 3 defenses once everything's obliterated. So now we got created a hole in the enemy lines. We're simply going to split up our guys, make little 3-man teams, right? 3-man teams, get a base of fire with the machine gun, get those guys to start laying down some scunion, make sure nobody recruits that machine gun. Meanwhile, we're going to get some guys going up, and we're going to start throwing some grenades. F6 is what my hockey is for the grenades. Oh, excuse me, F1 is what my hockey is for the grenades, so we're going to start throwing some grenades on here. Get these guys cleared out. I like to do it quickly. Let's just get some grenades on there, and then you can cook them off. Now that they usually try to run back to it, so just be aware of that. And then there we go, try to get on it again. Push the enemy off their point. Now that they're pushed off the point, you need to send in other squads, right? So there's only got a few people defending. Let's exploit this, right? Send up a tank support and send up some guys, send up a light squad with SMGs that they can defend it, right? They're coming up on the hill to help defend it. These guys are going to start digging in. They're going to start digging in, trying to secure the hill. Meanwhile, these guys are going to start clearing out what's left of the enemy on this hill. So say I want to hip fire my machine gun. There's still some people on this hill. We're taking them out. We're taking them out one by one. You gotta be careful though, because they might have like this guy have SMGs or something hiding behind the corner. So now that you're taking them all out, and then your next squad's coming up, starting to dig in. Make sure you keep that momentum going. So get all your guys that made it through. Keep the momentum going. Get another base of fire. Find out where the next enemy position is and roll through it. Also, if you have things like Panzer IVs, you might want to keep them on trying to kill tanks. However, if you are going to be using them, for fire support, this one's max range for fire support is 180. So you want to be using him at max range. That way he's not getting sniped by enemy tanks himself. Or you might just want to keep him on reserve and have him hold fire. He's creeping up with your 2 targets on Conquest. Just have him on armor piercing and waiting for the next enemy to show up. Prioritize those AT guns and prioritize taking out some enemy tanks that might be hiding behind a building. Especially in multiplayer, it can be an issue as well. Alright guys, the last cool thing we're going to show you guys is going to be like a nice little breach that we're going to do. Alright, so say we have these guys, they're trying to take this building. We got enemy troops in here. We're trying to suppress it. We got some guys firing, giving a base of fire. We're going to go ahead and get a smoke out there, so we can try to blind the enemies. Meanwhile, we have guys ready to run in whenever we get this breach. We want to take out this building, but we don't want to destroy the building with a flamethrower, because we want to retain this building and say we want to keep it for our own use. So we sneak up a Panzer Shrek. We're like, alright, we want to make a door right the fuck here. So, say you miss your first shot, alright, we're going to reload, get back in the fight. But what the Panzer Shrek can do, it can make a breach for you. So, aim center mass. And as you can see, we've just made a breach. Now that we've got a breach in here, you can direct control or you can throw some grenades in. I like the direct control because you can usually kill enemies pretty easily. Coming in here, spraying and praying. Make sure you have a full man before you do it, not like me. But you kill everybody that's in the room. If he gets killed, just send the next guy. You know where exactly where the guy is. Come in here. Wait. Say you know there's somebody just got killed in here. All you gotta do, come here, throw a grenade in the room. Wait for him to come out, and you're just gonna machine gun his ass as he comes out. So make sure you're using these Panzerschrecks. I always like to have a couple around just in case. Panzerfausts can also work as well. See, same thing. This is a very on this map. This is a very important building. However, if I can't get in, I simply create my own breach by force, and then I come in here. Usually not with my guy who has only a pistol, but I come in here and I clear the freaking building. If I need to make a hole, I'll make a hole, even if it's expense of 1 or 2 units. But look at that. We just made an entire hole through the entire house. So make sure you guys are doing stuff like this. Hope this video helped you. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.